What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to Locked In Politics. And today we are going to be going over how accurate my 2024 presidential election prediction was, my final prediction for the presidency, the Senate, the House, and the popular vote. I will say I was absolutely perfect. Just to start, I did get every single state predicted perfectly. I predicted 312 electoral votes for Donald Trump, 226 for Vice President Kamala Harris, and I predicted every state and every swing state perfectly. This is the map of the 2024 election, with every blue state that thought to go blue went blue, and every red state that would have thought to gone red went red, and Donald Trump sweeping every swing state. And this was my predictions. I will be taking you through most of my predictions of pretty much every swing state. Some states that I've actually missed the margins here, and some states where I absolutely nailed down to the decimal point. So first, I want to start with the blue states that I actually underestimated Donald Trump in. And I'm going to start with a few. One would be the state of New Jersey. 88% in New Jersey. We still have vote to come. Kamala Harris will probably end up winning by a little more than 5. I predicted, however, Donald Trump would lose by a safe margin, which remind everybody, my margins here would be this. If you see a dark blue or a dark red state, I predicted that these states would go to Donald Trump or Vice President Kamala Harris by 10 or more points. We characterize that as a safe margin. If you see, for instance, New Mexico and the state of Texas, these are both likely margins. These are states that I predicted Donald Trump or Vice President Harris would win by 5 to 10 points, a likely margin in that state. Now, for another example, we could look at North Carolina and Virginia. These would be our lean states, states that would be 1 to 5 points for that given candidate. These would again be the lean states. And then lastly, the tilt states. These are states that I predicted would go to a certain candidate by under 1 point. States like Michigan, states like Nevada, the lightest shade of red you see here. So looking at certain states like Illinois, Donald Trump is going to lose most likely by under 10 points. I predicted correctly that Vice President Kamala Harris would win, but I predicted by over 10 points. One thing I will probably do for my next election prediction, is going to honestly predict margins for every state. I think it would be more fun that way, give me more of a chance to be even more accurate, maybe miss a little bit. But I'm sure I will do that next election. So now I want to look at the swing states that I absolutely nailed, but not the key 7 states like Minnesota, Virginia, New Hampshire. So we'll start in New Hampshire, where I predicted this would be about a 2 to 3 point win for the vice president. We look at the results here. The vice president's going to win by just under 4 points, about 3.5 points with 95% in. I nailed the state of New Hampshire. I took in the polling data, the history of the state, and was able to get that state really accurate. In Virginia, I predicted this state would be just under 5 points. It looks like for Vice President Kamala Harris, she'll win by just over 5 points. So I mischaracterized with it being a lean or a likely, but still a pretty good characterization nonetheless. And then we'll look at Minnesota, where I predicted a lean margin for Vice President Kamala Harris by just under 5 points. And it appears to be that prediction is going to pretty much land perfectly. This is a state that Donald Trump's going to lose by just under 5 points. He's going to lose by about 4.2 points right now. That probably will stay around the same. Then we could look at New Mexico. I predicted this to be just narrowly over a 5-point win for the vice president, and she's going to win just over 5 points. So really in these states that we expected to go a certain direction, but maybe the margins were off, I actually was able to predict really accurately. But there also were some states that I did get incorrect, like Texas. I predicted this to go to President-elect Donald Trump by about 8 points. He's going to win it by about 14 when we're all said and done. So again, I predicted the correct winner. However, the margin was off by a little bit. Same thing in Ohio, where President-elect Donald Trump's going to win by around 12 points. And you look at my prediction, I predicted about an 8 or 9 point win in both Iowa and Ohio. And he's going to win by even a larger margin in Iowa by about 13 points. In fact, over 13 points, a huge win in Iowa. But still, nonetheless, predicting the correct winner, just my margin underestimating the president-elect a little bit. Now we're going to move into the key swing states. I want to start with the states that I got perfect. First, I will say the state of Georgia. My final prediction in Georgia was a lean 2 to 2.5 point win for Donald Trump. And well, it doesn't get much better than that. Donald Trump going to win the state of Georgia by 2.2 percentage points. And now, for you guys who might say, am I making these numbers up? No, you can go and look at my presidential election prediction. I even say the margins for these swing states. So, yes, it's a lean, but I even characterize, hey, I think North Carolina is going to be about a 2.5 to 3 point win or whatever it might be. So I do say the numbers in my presidential election prediction. You could fact check me if you would like, but I got Georgia perfect, spot on in Georgia. North Carolina, though, we'll look at North Carolina next. I predicted Georgia actually to go to the right of North Carolina, I believe. I predicted both to be a lean, but I thought North Carolina would be about a 2 point state for the president. Again, I did nail the correct winner, and I got the lean margin correct. In fact, though, he's going to win by over 3 points in the state, 3.4 percentage point win. I actually underestimated the president-elect a little bit, but nonetheless, still predicting the margin correctly. A really good, really great job from me, honestly, in the southern part of the United States. This is the Sun Belt right over here. Arizona, I predicted Donald Trump winning by about 3 to 4 points, a lean margin. And honestly, I underestimated him. I really did not think that the president-elect Donald Trump was going to win this state the way he did. Again, these margins could change. You'll notice Arizona only 80% in, but he's up by 6 points in the state of Arizona. And if it's election day vote remaining, we could look at Maricopa County, 81% in. He's going to win this county by over 4 points when it's all said and done, especially with the fact that it's election day vote out remaining. And I believe when it was all the mail-in vote in, he was actually up in Maricopa. So he's going to expand his margin probably in the state of Arizona. And it's a very interesting Senate race here that we could look at. And I'll make more videos about it in the future, probably today, about how the certain Senate maps could, certain Senate seats like Kari Lake could end up. But I predicted Donald Trump to win it by 3 to 4. He's going to win it probably by 6 to 7, which is bigger than his 2016 number. And then we'll look at the state of Nevada, which was my biggest swing state miss. Then again, I predicted the correct winner. I predicted Donald Trump to win this state. Again, you could fact check me by looking at my presidential election prediction video. I predicted this to be a president-elect Donald Trump victory in the state of Nevada, but I thought it was going to be by under a point. I really thought that the history of Nevada and Republicans being overestimated in the polls would stand true, and that this would be a state that would be decided by thousands of votes. Well, I was pretty wrong. Donald Trump's going to win the state of Nevada by over 3 points, most likely when it's all said and done. And a big reason for this is getting Clark County. Look at Clark County. Donald Trump was able to win this county. Donald Trump narrowed the margin in Clark County to just 2.6 percentage points. That is huge for Clark County. He also flipped Washoe. This is a very important county. This is a county that he lost in 2016 and 2020. He was able to flip it to his side, and that is the reason, honestly, why he's winning Nevada by a lean margin, over 3 points. So a great job in Nevada. Overall, I predicted the Sun Belt perfectly in terms of states. Marginally, I got 2 out of the 4 perfect. Arizona underestimated Donald Trump just by a few points. Nevada, same thing, but still 4 for 4 in the Sun Belt swing states. And now we'll look at the Rust Belt. We'll go to the state of Wisconsin first, where I predicted Donald Trump winning by just under 1 point. We look at the results out of Wisconsin. Donald Trump is going to win by 1 point. So I actually pretty much nailed the state of Wisconsin perfectly. It was a great prediction, and overall, just a phenomenal job I did in the state of Wisconsin. I know I'm kind of hyping myself up, but it's not an easy job to predict these states with certainty. And I was honestly a little surprised with how accurate my map was. I just took the numbers, the data, a little bit of instinct, the feeling of momentum with the election, and past historical data. I took all these into consideration and made my prediction off of that. And man, I got some secret sauce, I guess, because I was able to predict Wisconsin perfectly. So Wisconsin was perfect. Let's go to a state that I actually underestimated the president, the state of Michigan. I predicted that he would win the state by under a point. I actually predicted this would be a state that would be decided by under half a point for the former president, now president-elect. However, it's actually looking like he will probably win the state of Michigan by over a point and a half, actually exactly a point and a half, 1.5 percentage points. So I predicted again Donald Trump to win the state of Michigan. However, I did not expect him to win by over a point, even a point and a half. So overall for Donald Trump, he actually won this greater than he did in 2016. He obviously lost it in 2020, and he's going to win by a point and a half. I predicted the state correctly, just the margin, barely underestimating the former president. And now the state of Pennsylvania. 19 electoral votes. I predicted Donald Trump to win by just under a point. This is a state that I thought was going to be one of the most red, with Wisconsin out of the Rust Belt, Michigan maybe most to the left, but still all of these going to Donald Trump, and same with Pennsylvania under a point. And you look at the state of Pennsylvania, Donald Trump actually up by 2 points in the state of Pennsylvania, and there's some key reasons we can dive into here that I actually underestimated the former president. Erie, Pennsylvania, he's going to win this bellwether of Erie. Northampton, he's going to win by, it looks like, over 2 points. He's going to flip Bucks County. You look at these upper Midwest counties in Pennsylvania, these northeastern Pennsylvania counties went to Joe Biden. You look at Lackawanna. This was a county that Joe Biden won by a much larger margin than Vice President Kamala Harris is carrying. And so you look at Center County, Donald Trump narrowing the margins here. Allegheny County, he's almost cracked 40% in Pittsburgh. Philadelphia, Donald Trump's going to crack 20%, maybe just get under 20%, and improve by multiple points in Philadelphia County. And the suburbs of Philadelphia, Kamala Harris didn't really gain anything. These counties stayed the same, and so Donald Trump was able to maintain his numbers in suburban and urban Philadelphia, or simply urban and suburban Pennsylvania, and then he drove up the margins in the rural areas, and he was able to flip the bellwethers, and that leads to a 2-point Donald Trump victory in the state of Pennsylvania. So here it is again, guys. This was my final prediction. I went 50 for 50. In terms of the popular vote, I predicted a Donald Trump win, but just barely. I predicted it by half a percentage point. It was like a 0.1 to 0.5% victory for Donald Trump in the popular vote. It looks like it'll honestly be more than that. Donald Trump is poised to win the popular vote with a majority. He's up right now on the vice president by about 4.5 million votes. Of course, California still has to come in. About 1/3 of the California results have not come in. So you could expect probably another net million for the vice president in terms of the popular vote. But Donald Trump is going to surpass his 2020 popular vote number, and Vice President Kamala Harris is going to fall short by millions and millions in the popular vote. And Donald Trump is probably poised to win by about 2 points in the popular vote and probably reach an outright majority, 50+1 in the popular vote. And so here it is, guys. This is the final results. I can actually compare it for you and make it easy. Let me do that. So boom, just to make it easier for you guys to see my prediction compared to the election map. Of course, you can't see margins for states like Arizona or Nevada, but this was my prediction compared to the actual map, 50 for 50. Popular vote, I did predict correctly. The Senate, I said Republicans will probably get, I believe I said 52 to 54 seats. It looks like they're poised to get 53 seats. And in the House, I said Republicans would get, we can go to the Senate. They're at 52. Pennsylvania's been called on Fox, and Arizona, Kari Lake actually again narrowing the margin against Ruben Gallego. So they could get 54 in their best case right now. And then in the House, Republicans are just 2 seats away from reaching a majority, which was my prediction that they would hold a slim majority. And so as you can see, I am a few House seats away, and maybe Arizona. I've correctly predicted the Senate regardless of how Arizona goes, but I am a few House seats away from predicting the trifecta, predicting every swing state, and predicting every single state in the United States, the popular vote. I am a few House seats away from being 100% perfect in the 2024 election predictions. So thank you guys so much for watching. If you enjoyed, make sure to like and subscribe, and I will see you guys in the next one. Peace.